What's going on, guys? I got a brand new product on the market for your Tesla Model Y or your Tesla Model 3. These LED taillights by Hansshow offer a different look than the traditional stock lights by Tesla. There are a couple different types of aftermarket taillights already, like the Eagle Eye version, but I personally thought these Xtreme taillights by far looked the best. My name is Evan, and if you're new here, welcome. In this video I'll show you how to install them, as the cords and connectors are all plug and play. I'll be installing these on my 2018 Tesla Model 3. Looking at the contents of the box, you'll see 4 pieces for both the left and right hand side, including the plug and play connectors. Some of the tools you may need are a socket wrench with an 8mm bit, a fish wire to feed the cords through the trunk compartment, a pry tool, and finally a standard crescent wrench. First thing you're going to want to do is remove this plastic bolt here or screw with your crescent wrench. You may need to use a microfiber towel to prevent scratching. You'll also remove the one on the driver's side as well, turning it to the left and removing these two and putting to the side. Next, we're going to remove this weather seal. Just pull up on it gently so you can expose the fabric panel on the passenger and driver's side. Take your pry tool inside the trunk and remove these plastic buttons. There's one on the passenger and driver's side inside the trunk. And we should be able to now pull down on this black plastic panel here. And I will have a little wire inside of here, which you probably won't have in your Tesla. And this should come free, but again, disregard that wire inside. That's because I have the powered trunk in my Tesla. And now we're going to unscrew the 8mm bolts inside and also unplug the driver's side tail light. Pushing on that clip, it should come free. And now we can gently remove the driver's side tail light. It should pop free. You'll notice the cord going through the hole here. That's because of my powered trunk. This is the 2018 version. I had to install an aftermarket, so you won't see that cord going through the hole. And on the driver's side, also unplug the tail light and screws, and it should pop free by pulling it loose. Another cord through the hole, which you won't have in your Tesla. You can see right there. That's for my powered trunk. Now we're going to gently pull down on the plastic panel on top of the trunk. It's just held down by plastic clips. You can use your pry tool or your hands and they'll just pop free. And I have this wire inside there holding, well, not holding, but connecting the power trunk button in there. Just use your flathead screwdriver to remove that cord and put that piece to the side. And now we're gonna disconnect the taillights from the back trunk panel on both the driver and passenger side. There's that little white plastic clip there. You might need to pull it back to loosen the clip. And now we're going to unscrew the one 8mm nut on both the passenger and driver side. This is what it looks like right here. Once you have both of these nuts removed, you can take your pry tool with the trunk closed and it should just pop right off after you have everything disconnected. And you can set that to the side. Same thing on the passenger side, just pops right off. And now we're going to install one of our trunk lights. You can see this has a large connector on it. It won't fit through the hole, so you have to disconnect that little white piece right there. So take your pry tool and remove it. And now we can feed our wire through the small hole, as you can see. I'm leaving the plastic on to prevent scratching during installation. See how it just fits in there perfectly. And we're also going to repeat this on the driver's side as well, feeding all those cords through the hole. Now I'm taking those little plastic bolts again, screwing them back into place. Same thing on the passenger side as well. Now I'm going to take our other tail lights and feed those cords through the holes as well. And this one just kind of pops into place. There's those 3 attachments on the rear of the tail light that will just connect into the holes of the frame of the Tesla. You'll see me just kind of push it in place right there. And repeat this also on the driver's side. But there is a blue and white cord you need to disconnect again. Just disconnect that before you feed it through the holes, because obviously it won't fit through. We'll reconnect this later at the top of the trunk lid. Just set that to the side for now and feed all those cords through the holes and just again snap it into place. You don't really want to force this into place. It should just completely like fit into its slot. And now you can see on the top of the trunk, when we have all the cords through the holes, there's that little cord with the rubber gasket seal around the cord. Don't worry about that, just feeds up in the holes. And that one right there, I'm pretty sure it's a fuse, so that's not nothing to connect to. You just feed that back up into the trunk lid later. And now it's just pretty much reconnecting that blue and white cord, like so, just clips right on. And now we're just going to connect our plugs back into the taillight. Again, it's all plug and play. Snaps in and push in that little white tab right there to fully secure the connection. And I'm feeding that fuse cord up into the hole of the Tesla. Same thing on the passenger side. Connect the taillights up. Push in that white piece to lock it in and feed that fuse cord up through the hole again. We don't need that. And we're going to attach our 8mm nuts to the taillight. We're not going to over tighten it. We don't want anything to crack. Just screw those into place. And you can see they should be all aligned. If not, you may need to adjust it, but this is what it looks like after peeling back the plastic. Looks pretty darn good. It's got a slight tint to it, a little bit of a black tint. Once you know everything is all aligned, looking good, we're going to now attach our other taillights, reconnecting the wires on the bottom with that red, yellow, and I think it's a black cord. Connect that back up, and also the main Tesla plug with the lights. Plug it in. Again, if the cord doesn't fit properly, it probably doesn't go there. It's all plug and play. So we're just gonna reaffix those 8mm nuts back on the top and bottom for the driver and passenger side. Not to over tighten it, but make sure it's secure. So everything's all connected there. You can see there's the bundle wires we have to feed up through the trunk for later. Just tightening up those bolts for the taillights for the top and bottom. And there's that blue and white cord we have to connect to the other taillight on the top section. So we're gonna have to feed that blue and white cord up through the top with our fish line. There's the other bottom taillight connectors we're going to feed up through the trunk. That's where it's going through that little plastic tube, the weather seal tube, which I'll talk about later. It's quite challenging. But I'm just going to unravel that blue and white cord, and we're going to have to feed it through the top of the trunk lid with your fish line. So this is just connecting to the top trunk lid, the left and right side. I'm just taking my fish line using some electrical tape and feeding it through the hole from the left to the right. Take your time doing this. All the way up through the middle and to the right side. Making sure you don't twist any wires up. Now I'm just going to unravel that tape, pull out the fish line, and I'm just going to connect it to the other tail light. Again, this is only for the trunk lid tail lights. I'm just going to ravel this up neatly and tuck it into its little hole there. So all we have left now is that yellow, green, and red connector for both the left and right side. Make sure that's all exposed and tuck in the blue and white wires we don't need anymore because they're now connected. And now I'm going to take my fish line for that left driver's side tail light. This is the bottom section. And I'm taking my electrical tape, wrapping it around the fish line, and I'm going to feed it up through the bottom of the trunk, up through that weather-proof wire seal gasket, if you will. This is quite difficult. It'll take a little bit of time. Your patience is needed for this. I took a little bit of time doing this. Feeding it through the hole. Again, this is the left side, the left wire going up to the trunk. And you can see how it's going through the hole there. And I already pulled back that wire weather seal. I had very hard time fishing this line through that weather seal. You can see I had to clip off the zip tie to really push down on that fish line, and ultimately it was so difficult, guys. I had to actually snip the weather rubber seal down the entire middle so I can feed the wires through. So ultimately I had to stop doing the fishing and cut the whole plastic seal and feed the wires through it that way, and then re-tape up the weather wire seal. So I had to re-tape up the entire tube. So you can see I got the cords fed through, but again I had to cut it. I retaped it, sealed it back up, and I also zip tied it back to the trunk, reaffixed the weather seal, and you can see the hole where the cords went through the top of the trunk lid. So I connected the passenger and driver side cords. I fed them through the top, and you see they're just hanging down. And you can see the wire now from the driver's side cord. So I'm just putting those cords up over the top of that plastic seal, and I'm just going to reaffix that plastic piece under the weather seal. It can take some time doing this. I had to reattach it to the top. It should snap back into place. Making sure that fabric panel is underneath the weather seal. I think I had a hard time fishing through the wire because I had the power trunk wires going through that tube as well, so you may have a better attempt at it than me. You can see I'm just reattaching all the weather seal to the fabric, making sure it's all neatly placed back in line. And now I'm just going to reattach those plastic buttons in the holes, lining them back up. And now I'm just going to take the excess wire and zip tie them neatly and tuck it back into the frame of the trunk. This is the right side, passenger side. So pretty much the bottom tail lights of the trunk are connecting to the top tail lights, and I'm just zip tying it back up, all the excess wire, and I'm feeding it through the holes, making it look all neat. You can see, making sure it all works. My power trunk's still working. It's all lined up. And now I'm just going to reattach my plastic trunk panel with the power trunk button, reconnect that, and this should snap back into its place, lining up the holes. I had to use a little bit of force. You'll hear some clicking and snapping back into place. And here is the after installation light effect. So these are the daytime running lights. Obviously when we're driving the taillights are off, but when we hit the brakes and use the turn signals, this is what it looks like. So those are the brake lights, and those are the reverse lights, the small tiny white dots. Here is the hazard lights. And hazard lights with the brakes illuminated. And now these are the nighttime lights, so every time you get in your car, this light effect will show every time at night. Right turn signal and left turn signal. Here's the brakes. And with the hazards. And reverse lights. So what do you guys think of this light? I mean, I think it personally looks better than the stock Tesla OEM lights. Here's some more visuals at night. So again, let me know in the comments below, and if you have any questions with the installation, be sure to comment down below and I'll promise to get back to you. To see even more accessories from every video I have created, be sure to check out my new website at evanmichaels.com. Everything you want to know about your Tesla with the latest accessories can now be found in one place. Until the next video, stay safe and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.